Hello, hello, and welcome back to 1111 Oracle. And so here I am with a new reading, and this one's going to be about what do your spirit guides think of you? How do your spirit guides view you? So that's the topic today. Let's take a look at the choices. So we have 5 choices, all right, and clearly starting with number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5. All right, so I will see you at your timestamp. Okay, number 1. What do your spirit guides think of you? All right, let's find out. So I'm using the Fairy Oracle deck today, or sorry, the Fairy Tale Oracle deck today by Lucy Cavendish. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle the cards in front of you and let's see. What do your spirit guides think of you, number 1? What do your spirit guides think of you? All right, let's take a look at the cards. So you have the Little Mermaid, and this may be you if I know one of my subscribers commented in a previous video that she really connects a lot to mermaids and all of that, and she keeps seeming to see a lot of synchronicities with mermaids and feel that connection. So I wonder if you picked this group. Let me know in the comments if you did. And you also got the Tinderbox Soldier, so the keyword being ambition, sorry, and the keyword for the Little Mermaid being sacrifice. Okay. The way your spirit guides see you is clearly someone who is willing to put themselves on the line for others, but also you're willing to work for your goals, right? You're willing to put yourself out there and do what you need to do, maybe sacrifice a little bit of fun in order to meet your long-term goals, which is very commendable and not something that everybody does, or not something that everyone is able to do successfully. So your spirit guides see you as someone who is definitely very ambitious, someone who goes after their goals, someone who is focused on getting from point A to point B. Okay. There is a little bit of a caveat though. Your spirit guides also see you as someone who is, how do I put this? So sensitive in a way where you get laser focused on where you need to go, but then you kind of you might neglect your own needs. You might neglect to really take care of yourself because you're so hyper focused on that end goal that you put aside everything else. And this is mostly at your own expense. So there's a message from your spirit guides just to be careful, to take care of yourself, to really make sure that, maybe you have to factor in those breaks or schedule in breaks if you're someone who really likes schedules. What I'm getting is that you kind of have this tunnel vision when it comes to achieving what it is that you want to draw in towards you. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. And that speaks to your hyper focus on your goals. But then you want to make sure that you don't forget yourself in the journey and the whole process of this. Your spirit guides see you as someone who is, you have this inner nurturing side of you where you do take care of others and you do attend to others' needs. But then again, there's always that mention coming back to the fact that you don't take care of your needs enough. They see you as someone who is also hyper creative. Not necessarily getting this from the cards per se, but just channeling through the information here. You may have a special connection to your dreams, by the way. You may have some interesting dreams, and your spirit guides say that they like to pass messages to you through your dreams, or there are a lot of messages because you're so what happens is you're so focused during the day that at night your brain and your subconscious can relax a little bit and allow you to receive those messages that you might often miss when you're so focused on one thing or just a few things. So yeah, pay attention to your dreams and the messages, and it would be helpful if you don't already have one to keep a dream journal and just write down the messages that you receive when you wake up from your dream. That would probably be a really good idea for you. Your spirit guides see you as someone who has undergone a lot of transformation, someone who has this beautiful wisdom and knowledge to share with others and apply to your own life. But that for whatever reason in your past, this voice was sort of stifled and you weren't really expressing yourself to your full capacity. Even you weren't really being yourself to your full capacity. So your spirit guides definitely see you as someone who covers up who they are in order to get to where they need to go. Now, sometimes, we need to follow in these survival tactics in order to get ahead. But in your case, you're coming into a moment of pure transformation where your spirit guides are really wanting you to reconnect with that part of yourself that you're sort of locked away and you didn't really allow others to see. They're saying that it's time now to open yourself up to the world. It's time now to, come out of your bubble. It's time to show people the wisdom that you hold within you. This sort of hiding away might have served you in the past, but they're saying that this is over. This lesson has been learned, and your past lessons have been learned, and it's now time for you to venture forward in a new cycle. They see you as someone who has probably had a harder time than most people when it comes to letting go of the past, because there's so many different links and attachments and cords that were sort of keeping you down through your own conditioning, your own, psychology and experiences. And they're asking you to cut a lot of those cords. You can look up online cord cutting videos. Knocking things all over. You can look up cord cutting videos, or you can just sort of Google that and see what comes up for cord cutting. And it doesn't mean that when you cut cords with someone or something that's whatever that is out of your life forever. It could just mean that you're cutting ties with those elements or those people or those behaviors that don't serve you anymore. So maybe if someone is constantly showing you a negative behavior, you need to draw certain boundaries where you don't allow them in your space if they're going to continue to demonstrate those behaviors, right? So it's about learning how to draw your boundaries. That is really, really important. So yeah, your spirit guides are coming forward with that really, really important message of drawing boundaries. You are someone who is very, very deep. Again, you might have a beautiful sounding voice, or you may have a beautiful singing voice. Your spirit guides are coming in with a very curious message. They love They want to remind you that your voice resonates at a higher frequency, and it resonates with a lot of pure light energy, that a lot of wisdom that your spirit guides are they pass through to you through your voice. So you may be clairaudient, and you can look at my clairaudient video if you want a little bit more information about that, or look at on your own through other sources. They are also saying, well, you could be telepathic as well, but not necessarily. Take what resonates. You could definitely have a beautiful singing voice in general. Your spirit guides, whether you do or you don't have a good singing voice, the message is the same. They like to hear you sing. You may like to sing in the shower. I know this is a common place where people sing, but I'm just getting an image of a shower and you singing. So you may like to sing in the shower, and they enjoy listening to you sing, because when you do sing, whether you're good at it or not, you get to relieve your throat and heart chakra of a lot of the emotional tensions and negative energies that just accumulate in those spaces. So it's actually a very therapeutic and healing process for you. Of course, water is a very, very important element. Your spirit guides view you as someone who is particularly emotional and very profound. They're saying that your emotions are not evil. Maybe you were led to believe that they were dangerous, or you should put them aside, or you need to box them away somehow. They are reminding you that this is not going to serve anyone, much less yourself. Of course, we need to learn how to balance our emotions. We can't just react at the drop of a hat, depending on the circumstance. That being said, your spirit guides are encouraging you to get in touch with your emotions and to understand that they make up a beautiful aspect of who you are. And when you can really get in touch with your emotions, utilizing both left and right hemispheres of your brain to process even some of the more difficult ones. So you can take a rational and intuitive approach to deciphering the messages that you receive without getting too reactive or too attached to the emotion. It's almost like you have to detach a little bit and watch the emotion presented to you, and then see if you can decipher what's the message that is important. What message needs to be relayed, and then you can be, again, like I said, you can use a rational and an intuitive approach combined. If you can do that, you will definitely be a powerhouse, more so than you already are. Your emotions are your power, so for as much as you try to escape and evade them, your emotions are your strength. If you have a pet, by the way, totally random, but your pet is one of your spirit guides, and your pet tries to remind you in subtle ways, or not so subtle to them, but I guess subtle for us humans who rely on language to communicate. But your pet tries to communicate to you through other types of language, body language, and especially if you look at their eyes. Their eyes have a lot to say. Anyway, they are one of your spirit guides, and they try to get you to get in touch with all of your emotions. And they're saying, they're coming through saying, it's a really hard job, but someone's got to do it. That's their message. They are like, oh God, to you, kind of like, oh, you're a pain in the behind sometimes, but I want you to see how your emotions are your power, and how they can really help you be more creative and more present in the now, and feel more fulfilled and succinct with who you are. If you don't have a pet, this could be maybe you connect with animals when you go outside, maybe birds on a walk or something. You could be connected to a certain spirit animal or totem animal. that may, right, that one of your spirit guides could be in animal form, but not in the physical, just in the spiritual or the etheric realms. So take what resonates for you, but there is some kind of an animal figure coming prominently out as your spirit guide, and this animal is very protective, very doting on you, loves you very much, and wants to get in touch with your emotions and understand that if you're not afraid to come face to face with those scary parts of you within, those dark, frustration, stress, anxiety, or anger, whatever it is, and if you can just be honest about what the message is and sort of take a step back from just participating in the muck of it, then you will feel very liberated and lighter. And if you do have a pet, in particular a dog, they're encouraging you to spend as much time with them outside as possible, as nature is always very healing. So your spirit guides think that you are ambitious, you're very goal-oriented, you're very self-sacrificial. They want you to take care of yourself more. They want you to spend time in nature. They want you to get in touch with your emotions, to realize that your full potential in creativity and power resides in that emotional realm. So if you can unleash that, you've got your superpower right there. So I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I look forward to reading for you in a future video. All right, number two. Let's take a look. So I'm going to shuffle the deck, and then, oh, by the way, I don't know if I showed you guys which deck I'm using. This one, Fairy Tale Oracle, okay, by Lucy Cavendish. I don't know where to put this. Okay, I'm going to shuffle the cards, and we're going to see what your spirit guides think of you, how they view you, how they see you. What do your spirit guides think of you? Number two. And this one keeps wanting to come out. Okay. So, well, sorry, I'm a klutz. Okay, now, you have a beautiful, connection to your guides. I can see that right off the bat. So you have water and salt, truth, and number 44. So if you're into numerology and repeated numbers, 44, if you do see a lot of repeated fours, that would indicate that your guides are very strongly around you. And I could see that very clearly. You have I want to say you have a massive amount of spirit guides around you. There are a lot, or at least they're if you do have only a few, whatever their presences are, you may have some dragon spirit guides or some kind of really large, maybe archangel energy. But whatever it is, you either have a lot, or you just have like this very, very difficult to miss presence of spirit guides. Okay, very big energy. So then you have the Princess and the Pea, sensitivity. So your spirit guides view you, they see that you're an empath. They see that you're very spiritually connected. They see you as someone who is sensitive, not just, oh, sorry about that. I'm going to turn off my phone. Not just as someone who is, like, oh, you're so sensitive kind of thing, right? In a derogatory way, like you take things too much to heart. Now, they do see that as being you a little bit. And so they are asking you to, I'll come to that message in a bit. It's very interesting. But in general, your sensitivity comes in the way of your psychic and spiritual abilities. So the fact that you're very in tune. You're very in tune with nature. You're very in tune with the higher realms. You're maybe in tune with some dark energy as well. In fact, I'm seeing that a lot of you have had unfortunate experiences, or you are currently having weird experiences with sort of this paranormal activity around you. Your spirit guides are asking you very intently, if this is the case, to ask them for protection. They will not interfere unless you are the one to initiate contact and really say, hey, I would like your help. So not to say that they don't protect you already, but they're asking you to be more direct with them in the way you request their services, right? So they're asking you to ask them for protection, to ask them to protect you. And, drawing your boundaries, all of that is really important. I did do a video about that, so you may want to check it out, just so that I don't rehash some of the old things in the video. But, even Google, look up how you can drop your boundaries, especially if you're an empath, right? Not just for spirits and ghosts, or I should say ghosts in particular, but also with people and, situations. Okay, your spirit guides see you as a very honest, pure soul. They see you as a truth seeker. They see you as being able to see through the darkness. You can pierce the veil of illusion, and you're able to see things very clearly. This hurts you a lot of the times, because as you're able to see the truth of things, you also come face to face with the unfortunate reality that, people are going to disappoint you, right? When you realize that your favorite person has maybe certain skeletons in the closet, or someone is lying to you, and you can tell, you can see that they're lying, you know that they're lying, you feel it, and yet that person won't admit it to you, and so this can be very hurtful. Your spirit guides are seeing that you have a lot of issues with certain confrontations with individuals where you know the truth of something and yet they're just not accepting it, and this confuses you, because a lot of you in this reading are starseeds, or you're wise souls, or you're very evolved advanced souls. So not necessarily starseeds per se. You could be an earth soul, but just be a very advanced and or old soul. So you are someone who has basically a high frequency, someone who's very connected. And because of this, sometimes, you're not able to, how shall I put it? You have a hard time dealing with others, because they are not being honest, and honesty is one of the values that you hold most dear. You believe that in order to have an effective society, harmonious society, honesty is the best policy. So your spirit guides are asking you actually to ease up on this philosophy a little bit, because for better or for worse, and it's not a good or necessarily a bad thing, sometimes people are not honest simply because they are not ready to come to terms with the truth. And if you look at it that way, you could have a better understanding that you yourself are actually someone who is very, pure of heart, in a way innocent, and very strong. If you have had to go through your existence so far, and I'm sorry, my internet is acting up. I don't know what's going on with that, but nothing I can do about that. I'm trying to get the bird sounds back on. But either way, what you may feel, what's interesting, you may feel that when you speak sometimes there is silence, and it's like, oh no, there's this awkward silence, just like the silence right now, right? And hey, that's okay. It looks like I won't be having any internet for a little bit, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh well. See, your vibration is really high, and that's part of what your spirit guides are coming in to say, is that you have this exceptionally high vibration of energy, so that when you do speak, it carries a lot of resonance, and then people get silent, not because, you know, they think you're weird or anything like that, but just because they don't know what to say. You know, what do you say after someone says something very true, very truthful, that resonates from a higher plane? So your spirit guides are asking you actually to be a little bit more understanding of others, just to say that other people are not ready to come to terms with the truths that you bring forward, right? They also see you as very beautiful, that you have a beautiful soul. You have some, literally, and, you know, physically, I guess, visually speaking, maybe, you know, and also just its essence in and of itself. You have a beautiful aura, and others enjoy being around you. So you do have to protect yourself in that way as well. Again, I remind you to go back to the boundaries video in order to get an understanding of how to put up your protective barriers if you don't already have your own practice that is effective for you. Okay, they see you as sometimes intimidating to others because you are so forthright with bringing out the truth in things. So anyway, to wrap up, you are a truth seeker. Your spirit guides see you as being wise, pure, unencumbered by certain social norms, very, very sensitive to energies, to things around you. Okay, you're very empathic, you're highly spiritual, and your spirit guides are asking you to be a little bit more patient and understanding of others who are just not ready to hear the truth, whether you like those people or not. And they're asking you to be patient for your sake, not to excuse them of any wrongdoing, but more so to give you some sanity and peace of mind that it's not personal, it's more on them. So you can move forward with the knowing and the confidence that, well, you did. You tried your best. Yeah. And that's all that matters, right? All right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, afternoon, evening, and I look forward to reading for you in another video. Okay, group number 3. All right, group number 3. So group number 3, I apologize. I don't know what's going on with my internet here. Maybe the frequency, the vibration is too high or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not able to have any background sounds at this time. Okay, so you'll have to be patient with me there. All right, you know what? Maybe I'm going to try something. I'm going to power off, and then I will power back on my phone. We'll see if that works. Okay, anyway. So, let's see what your spirit guides think about you. This is the deck I'll be using, the Fairy Tale Oracle guidebook deck, Lucy Cavendish, by Lucy Cavendish, okay? And I'm going to shuffle the cards, and we're going to see what your spirit guides think about you. What do your spirit guides think about you? Number 3, what do your spirit guides think about you? Number 3, your spirit think about you. What do your spirit guides think about you? All right. So we have the Snow Queen, loyalty, and Hansel. I know the writing's blurry, but and it says survival. Okay. Interesting. Well, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind is that your spirit guides think you are a great friend. You're a really good friend. You're very loyal to those you care about. It may be hard to get to know you at first, they're saying. But in a way that's kind of, I don't want to say better, but that's really good, because then people, once they make friends with you, they really know that you're their friend, you know. So it may take time for you to warm up to someone, and that's totally all right. Okay, that is totally cool. And in fact, they might think you're, you know, a little too cool, like too cool and collected, right? And so people might give you people might make the assumption that you're a little standoffish, and your spirit guides are also telling you to not worry about them, because that's their insecurity. They would be projecting an insecurity that you don't like them. But if they are really confident in their own skin, they don't need you to like them. It doesn't matter what you think about them, kind of thing. And so they don't know that it's not so much that you're standoffish, but more so that you may be shy, but not necessarily. I'm getting a lot of introvert vibes here. You may be very introverted, and so you may just be very careful with how you spend your energy, which includes how, you know, it includes where you spend your energy and with whom, right? If you're not sure about someone, and especially if this person is a drain on you somehow, I'm hearing drain on your pocketbook, so maybe you've had people like this in the past who have used you for your finances, or you just felt liquidated from them, that you were just sort of giving more, and so this maybe caused you to pull back. You might have witnessed some financial instability growing up in your household, or sort of this kind of manipulative backstabbing or cheating in regards to money, that really sort of disgusted you and made you learn vicariously through those experiences that you didn't want to repeat those incidences in your life. So it's caused you to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to meeting new people, you know. But the one thing that, you know, your spirit guides really are saying that this is a good attribute that you have, and not to worry about those who are suspicious of you just because you may seem a little bit more closed off. That's only from their perspective. In reality, you're a wonderful friend, and when people get to know you, you're very warm and tender and sensitive to their needs, but you want to make sure, of course, that you can feel safe with that other person, and that other person is not going to take advantage of you in the way that you might have witnessed in the past, right? So, what else do your spirit guides think of you? They think you're very magical in the way that you think. They think you're highly intellectual and intelligent. They see you as someone who has had to use their intellect in order to survive, right? Hansel had to think quickly, and so did Gretel, Hansel and Gretel, right? They had to They couldn't use strength necessarily or force. They had to find a way to get out of the witch's house by using the power of their intellect. So you might have had to think through problems fast, and this has because you had to survive in a way, and maybe in a young age in childhood or through different experiences in your life, even through relationships or relationships that were possibly toxic, whatever the case may be. Maybe you were bullied in school, I don't know. Because of these situations, you've had to really use your brain power to get ahead, to move up, and move out and away from situations that were compromising to you. So your spirit guides are coming through to not be so hard on yourself when other people say, oh, maybe you're, too standoffish or cold, because they're reminding you that you are who you are. You know who you are. You don't need to listen to what other people think of what and who you are. It doesn't matter what they think, right? Because you have your reasons for being who you are, and if they have a problem with you, it's because they just don't know you. If they want to judge you based on appearances and very small interactions which don't give a lot of information, where they have to fill in the blanks, then they, if they're going to do that, they don't even deserve your energy and attention in the first place. Because I think the people that you're drawing towards you are also people who have experienced similar situations to you, or they're people who, well, generally speaking, I think you have a lot of very intelligent friends, and intelligent in different ways. Intelligent because they had to be for different reasons. So you are very intelligent, you are very bright, you have this cool, calm, and collected approach. So this is coming from your spirit guides. Your spirit guides see you as someone who is, you have this magical way of thinking. You have this high intellect and ability to get out of situations or understand others as well. You're able to read people really well. You're able to analyze your situations and your surroundings really well. This has helped you navigate through your life enormously. And you are also someone who, let's see. Sorry, my phone is acting really weird, and I'm getting old messages from, I don't even know when. Like messages that I already received are just sort of popping up on my phone again. So you may feel like things are a little out of sorts, and it might have been the draw to take you down a more spiritual path, where you feel like there's too many odd synchronicities, or there's too much, there are too many coincidences to count. There are certain weird things that are happening around you, perhaps, where you just feel like you're in a perpetual retrograde of some kind. I think the spiritual path for many of you is new, or you just haven't had time to focus on it before. But you are fairly spiritual people, and you have a great ability of manifestation. So, that's where this comes to. Your spirit guides are actually pointing at your ability to manifest. They're saying to remind you that all of these sort of synchronicities and way past, your need to survive, etc., they've all brought you kind of to this moment where you need to reflect a little deeper on what you see, that it's not a coincidence. What's going around you is not a coincidence. And they're pointing to your ability to draw in and track what it is that you want. Since you may be set on survival mode, it's almost like they see you as someone who is very good at getting what you need in order to get by, in order to survive, in order to move past whatever circumstance that would be limiting to you. And they're saying now to get out of that sort of, it's almost like you have like a poor person's mentality, where you're just sort of locked in these old thoughts that you have less than. And they're saying that now this is actually not going to do you any good, because if you keep being locked in that mentality, you're going to find that around you, you'll keep perpetuating less than, you'll keep that cycle of lack. So obviously you have to go out and work, and, you have to make money and whatever in order to survive in this 3D world. But they're saying beyond that, they don't just want you to focus on, okay, how can I survive? How can I get out of this? How can I, move forward? They want you to maybe even start like a visualization board of some kind. I don't know what the word is, what the expression is. They want you to have something on your desk or something on your wall, maybe, where you can see a certain goal, and then just write about it, maybe in a journal, or just whenever you see it, you focus on it. Okay, it doesn't have to be something that you sit and meditate on for a long time, but on that note, they are saying to maybe meditate a little bit and to work on your manifestation abilities. So you're a great manifester if you tap into that energy, which means that now moving out, you may have had a Scorpio South Node, or a South Node in the 8th house, if you're into birth chart readings. And then moving into a Taurus North Node, or a North Node in the 2nd house, you would be basically coming into abundance if you know how to really utilize that ability that you have to attract what it is that you deserve. I'm even going to say further than want, but what it is that you really truly deserve. What you want, what your heart desires, what your heart truly desires is also, you're getting the green light from your spirit guides to say, yes, this is also what you deserve. You deserve these good things, these good people, whatever situations. You deserve happiness in your life. And so your spirit guides are seeing you as someone who is very, very, very strong, very, very, very capable, exceptionally intelligent, like I said, high intellect. And then, of course, they are asking you to tap into your spiritual gifts more. Namely your ability to manifest what it is that you want. So I encourage you to watch videos on manifestation, or to do some research on that. You can also look up law of attraction. Take everything with a grain of salt, because there is certain, there is a commercial aspect of selling an idea or a theory, like when we talk about the law of attraction. That being said, there's a lot of truth if you know how to sift through what resonates with you and what doesn't. And I think that you're going to feel a lot more empowered in the upcoming weeks. You can check back in and comment and let me know if that's true. But I feel like you are going to be feeling, I'm hearing, on top of the world and more empowered. And your spirit guides definitely encourage you. Again, they keep saying manifestation, manifestation, manifestation. You are a manifester. You are meant to manifest in this world. You are not meant to stay in survival mode for the rest of your life. You are meant to manifest towards you using the power of your mind. All right. If you take your intellect a step further, you can really activate those sort of dormant parts of your brain where you have latent talents and abilities that are your birthrights and have been given to you as a gift. All right, you deserve the gift of manifestation because you've worked so hard for them in the past, for it in the past. So Spirit wants to give you this gift of being able to draw in what it is that you want. I hope that video resonated with you, and I look forward to reading for you in a future video. Okay, so now we have group number 4. Group number 4, let's take a look. So, excuse the lighting a little bit, but anyway, group number 4, this is the deck that we'll be using, okay, the Fairy Tale Oracle guidebook deck, whatever, by Lucy Cavendish. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle for you, and we're going to see how your spirit guides view you. How do your spirit guides view you? Number 4. How do your spirit guides view you? Number 4. Interesting. Okay, and good. So, Snow White and Rose Red, sister loves. If you don't know the fairy tales, there's a separate fairy tale with, I'm not sure if it's the same Snow White or a different Snow White, and she has a sister called Rose Red. Anyway, I'm being nudged to tell you that this card is number 26, and number 26 may have a certain relevance to you. And there's also card number 2 with Rapunzel, Liberation. Well, I'm being drawn to this bird over here. And your spirit guides, both birds, right? There are 2 birds, actually. There's this duality within you. Okay, first of all, backtrack a little bit more. Your spirit guides see you as being one of them. In particular, you have a spirit guide who may have been a relative that has passed on that was very close to you. If you did lose a sibling, this is the spirit guide that is coming forward in particular to say that you are very protected. They watch over you. They love you. They care for you deeply. They see you as one of their own, connected to them. And they are asking you to, they're really being drawn to the color red. I mean, there's the sort of tinge in the lips, and then there's the red berries. I don't know if you can see that she's holding in her hands. This little, there we go. And there's the red bird. And there's just red around their faces and, their skin. So red, the color red is of significance. So the color red talks about the root chakra, all right? Your spirit guide that is watching over you in particular, it could be more than one spirit guide, but I'm just really picking up this one spirit guide in particular, really wants you to get more grounded. Which is interesting, because if we think then of the story of Rapunzel, okay, because why grounded? Red, color of the root chakra, which is all about, when you tap into that energy, it could be about grounding, security, and safety, etc. When we tap into the energy of Rapunzel, she was locked away in a tower, so high off the ground. High off the ground. She was not safe. She was confined. And she was basically living with the enemy, right? The witch, who confined her in the tower. I know the cartoon said that she had healing hair. I don't know if it was the same for the actual Brothers Grimm story. And you'll have to forgive me because my remembrance of this story and the original story anyhow, I think Disney just added that her hair was healing. Either way, there's something very healing about you. So your spirit guides see you as someone who's a healer. You heal others. You heal others. You're very giving. You're very generous of your time and your space and your money potentially, and your words and your affection. It could be a combination of some or of these, or it could be something else. But either way, you have this very healing. You have this healing ability, this healing power, this healing heart, and at the same time, it's almost like you are trying to help others, but you're not really helping yourself. So this is a similar message in a way to, I believe it was group ones. So if you're drawn to one as well and you weren't sure, you may want to take a look at that as well. But your spirit guides see you as someone who is very healing. And they are saying that in order to be even more healing to others, you need to get grounded. You need to get in touch with the earth. Go outside, go for walks, spend time in nature, spend time in your garden if you have one. If you're fortunate to have one, spend time in your garden, in your backyard. Spend time at the park. If you can go for a hike, if you have the forest, if you're fortunate enough to have the forest near you, go take a hike. Right? Take a hike. No, not in a negative way, but enjoy your enjoy the earth. The earth is a gift, and a lot of people don't know how to appreciate it. Your spirit guides see you as ultimately. What's very interesting is that your spirit, I'm going to say guides, even though I'm really originally was seeing one in particular, but just because this is a general reading, and I don't want to just talk about one guide, but more so what your guides in general think of you. I'm going to pull in all of the wisdom of your guides here, but you definitely have one guide in particular who is very much like the sister energy to yours. Now, when I say sister energy, I mean it in the sense of just, having a similar energy to you. Could have literally been a sister, or it could be, a brother or a cousin or anyone else, even a friend. There's a spirit guide that's around you that is very chummy with you, we'll say, very friendly with you. This is your friend. This is your buddy. You are never truly alone because they are with you and watching over you and taking care of you. And their message, along with your other spirit guides, is to get grounded. But, what your spirit guides are saying is interesting, like I said, because they're not looking at the way you are now. They're looking at your potential, but they're saying that your potential is you, which is really very interesting. You have this essentially like that you close the door, you lock the door, all right, and you have the key. Unlike the story of Rapunzel, where she needs to be rescued, you actually do have the key to unlocking yourself out of whatever the prison is you put yourself in, okay, or the confinement, and that they're inviting you to use that key to go out and be more, grounded in a sense. They see you as who you are meant to be. They just see who you're meant to be. And they know that you are already that person, as someone who's very grounded, as someone who is able to be very level-headed, emotionally stable, a good balance between rationale and intuitive abilities, right? You have the very, very balanced left and right brain. So your spirit guides see you as someone who is truly very balanced, serene. You have this inner peace that you just exude wherever you go, whether in the future or now. Even if you don't feel this now, there is some very healing Zen vibes that you give off. And your spirit guides want you to be made aware of this, to recognize it, because you're going to be able to move mountains with this energy. So it's interesting because as I'm tuning into your energy myself right now, I just feel very relaxed. And I was a little annoyed and frustrated because I don't know why my internet isn't working, and so I can't really have any background noise right now, unfortunately. Not sure why that is happening. And so whatever frustration I was feeling before, I'm just feeling totally zenned out with you. Like I almost want to go to sleep. I just feel like I had codeine or something. I feel really, really relaxed. You are a breath of fresh air to people, and you make others feel safe. So your spirit guides want you to get grounded just so you can strengthen your own abilities to heal and take care of yourself. Because if you're stronger in your own space, then you're going to be able to take care of others a lot more. And without those feelings of neglect and resentment even, and sometimes bitterness, right? So and maybe wear red. I don't know, just a side note that your spirit guides are telling me to tell you to just wear red. Red, pendants, carnelian, garnet, different, crystals that are red, ruby if you have any, but doesn't necessarily have to be ruby. So anything, red, red t-shirt or a red dress or red shoes or a red bag, have something red on you, even red lipstick, or if you do highlights in your hair, maybe red would look good on you or something like that. But, there's something very powerful with the color red, because it's like I'm being guided to look at the color of Rapunzel's hair as well, which is sort of gray. And it's beautiful. I'm not saying the illustration is beautiful. And then, of course, Snow White's hair here is white, not like black in the other story of Snow White. In this case, she has white hair. And the message that's coming through from your spirit guides is you're allowing yourself to sort of be washed out. By not grounding yourself, it's like the color is just fading from your cheeks, And there's this feeling of apathy, of a lack of motivation, of interest, the less grounded you are. But the more you respect the earth, and the more you respect that spiritual path of having your both feet planted firmly on the ground, the more uplifted and psychically attuned you will feel, interestingly and paradoxically enough, because when you have that strong anchor to the ground, then higher spiritual forces can latch on to you and can come through you. That healing power, especially if you're someone who does Reiki, right? You should be very grounded if you're a Reiki master or teacher, because if you're not grounded, then that energy is going to just throw you off. It might make you feel dizzy, it might make you feel nervous, and it might make you even sick, so you because it doesn't have anywhere to latch onto. And so it's just going to kind of shift around in your system and wreaking all kinds of inner turmoil and possibly, some chaos there emotionally. So the more grounded you are, the less that will happen. You can have this streamline of energy that goes right through you to through the soles of your feet, and just really comes out in a very strong and healthy way, where you're going to feel not only stronger and more content, but you're going to feel less anxious, more alive, more passionate, more in the moment, and people are really going to respond very positively to that. Of course, draw your boundaries. This is also part of being, grounded. Drawing your boundaries is a very important thing to do. Your spirit guides are actually asking you as well to explore the emotion of anger in particular, possibly frustration and anxiety, but in particular anger. You tend to demonize anger. Perhaps the people around you demonize anger. You may have this misconception that in order to be a healer and to be zen and peaceful and whatever, that anger is just a no-go and it's not going to help you in any way. This is just not true. Now, we have to understand what anger is. Anger, when expressed healthfully, is about, saying, sorry, I'm busy tonight. It doesn't have to be an explosion of emotion. If anything, when it gets to the explosive part, you probably don't have a control over your emotions, or you don't have a healthy grasp of them or relationship with them. So basically, if you demonize your anger, then what's going to happen is it's going to manifest itself in its worst, darkest form. It'll come out, in a fit of rage or whatever, which will make you say, see, I told you anger is no good for me, and this is exactly why I demonize it. Well, you're actually perpetuating the cycle. By demonizing it, it's only going to become more of what you think it is. I'll give you an example. If kids are bullying someone in the playground and they say you're stupid, you're incapable, you're incompetent, and this sort of language is repeated, every day maybe, or every time they meet on the playground, what's going to happen is that the kid is going to go home, the kid is being bullied, and unless they have a strong support system at home, and they have some, very strong willpower within them, they're going to start feeling stupid and incapable and small. And so basically they will embody those words that were projected at them, right? Now, the same goes for your anger. Not to say you're bullying your anger, but maybe there's a part of your anger that needs to be heard, that feels repressed and is not feeling very validated. Remember, your emotions bring messages. However uncomfortable they feel, there's always a message to be heard within the emotion. So maybe in a quiet meditation practice or by yourself, somewhere where you can just kind of sort of maybe journal it out, really want you to explore the emotion of anger and its implication in your life, and understand that on a healthy level, anger can simply be not a reaction, not an explosion, not even an outward expression, but simply saying, yeah, well, I'm going to draw my boundaries, right? Because there's a scale, there's a spectrum. On the very exaggerated, on one end of the spectrum, very exaggerated, you have this explosion of anger. On the other end of the spectrum, you might have this sort of repression of anger. Then we have what manifests into passive aggressivity. But then near the middle maybe is where you need to find a balance between expressing your boundaries, but not letting it get to a point where you repress them or they explode. So one or the other, repressing, exploding, is not going to work for you. It doesn't work for anyone, but especially not for you, right? Since you're a healer, you're most likely empathic or an empath, and so you're going to be receptive to different people's energies. And because you're so receptive to different energies, it is that much more important for you to find a way to stay in the middle and grounded so that you can be a strong pillar of strength, right? The allusion to Rapunzel, right? You can take the positive out of that tower. The positive is, it doesn't have to be a place of confinement, but it could be a symbol for, being strong in oneself. Now, feeling a negative emotion is fine. Just Try not to push it away. Try not to let it get to a point where it just explodes out. Try to just say, hey, emotion, what's up? You know, what message do you have for me today? And write it down or think about it, and you'd be surprised at what you would come up with. It might be anger, might say one day, well, you know, I'm just frustrated because it feels like no one's listening to me. And then you can say, okay, well, let's see. Why does it matter if people are listening? And why do you think they're not listening? And where does that come from? You know, have this healthy dialogue with yourself. And how can I make it so that people do listen? You know, do I need to write some of my thoughts out so that they don't feel stifled within me? Do I need to find some kind of a public forum where I can express my ideas and others will listen? Right? So you need to find that outlet then. And that's what I'm seeing. Your spirit guides are saying you need to find some kind of an outlet for this anger. Find a positive outlet for this anger. Whether it's joining a group that fights for maybe certain rights of maybe animals or women or the homeless, or any group where they're where you feel strongly that certain structures need to change, or you know, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, whatever you're passionate about. Find what you're passionate about. Your anger can give you a lot of passion towards a good cause. Even if that's passion in your creativity, if you have a YouTube channel, you can throw that passion into your YouTube channel. You know, it doesn't have to be that you have an aggressive message to share, but just that you have a message and that you're passionate about it. So there's something very healing about you. Your spirit guides see you as a healer. They see you as this pillar of strength. They see you as a grounded person at your highest peak and your potential. They're encouraging you to get in touch with your anger. And through that, you are going to be able to liberate a lot of the misconceptions about yourself, you know, being hard on yourself and thinking that you're weak or lesser than, when in actuality you're very strong. It's just that you need to learn how to take that strength and make it work for you instead of, you know, let it implode or work against you. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that reading, and I look forward to reading for you in another video. All right, group number 5. Group number 5. My apologies, I don't have any background noise. I'm not sure why my internet is acting up. Couldn't really tell you what's going on there, but anyhow, we don't have background noises today, so I'm sorry. Fairy Tale Oracle is the deck that I will be using from Lucy Cavendish. I always want to say Cavendish. Oh, it's annoying. Do you ever do that? Like you have a word and you're just stuck on it, and you keep. Are you guys tongue-tied a lot? Because I am right now. All right. Let's see. Sometimes I think I get tongue-tied when there's just a lot of downloads coming through. So your spirit guides may see you as someone who's overloaded, and fairly intuitive, a good communicator, but sometimes you just get so much coming through, whether that be in your workplace or in your spiritual practice, or you know, just stories that you want to share, that you know, you just don't know which to share, which to talk about. I see a very fun kind of bubbly energy. Your spirit guides definitely appreciate that side of you, but let's dig a little bit more. Okay, so what do your spirit guides think of you? How do your spirit guides see you? How do your spirit guides see you? I want to take 3 cards for you. For everybody else I had 2, but for you guys I'm going to have 3. So you have the Red Shoes Obsession. This is the card that I would associate with the devil in the regular tarot deck. or your spirit guides don't see you as someone who's demonic or anything like that. Okay, don't worry. Fair, brown, and trembling, gifts. Thumbelina, expectations. I know you can't see all the words very well, and that's okay. You're more interested in the interpretation here and what your spirit guides think of you. Okay, so your spirit guides see you as having a lot of sides. They do see this bubbly part of you, but there is this dark, not that you have a, you know, we all are a mixture of dark and light, first of all. But there is this side of you that, okay. They see you as being very hard on yourself, very perfectionistic, maybe hard on other people sometimes, and that's only because you're just really hard on yourself. So they want you to explore that a little bit and to see, you know, how you can ease up on yourself. You have a lot of expectations for yourself and others, okay? You have a lot of expectations for your life, and you somehow feel that what you have or what you are is just not good enough. And so you keep trying to chip away at yourself in not always in a good way, right? You have maybe some really heavy Saturn placements in your chart, in your birth chart. So you may want to check and see where Saturn is placed in your birth chart. Let's see, Saturn would be associated with Capricorn, so you may be a Capricorn, or you may have some interesting heavy Capricorn influences in your chart. So you guys are the busy bees, the hard workers. Your spirit guides see you as people who are exceptionally gifted. You may have been classified as being gifted as a child, okay? You may be gifted and you may have a high IQ, not necessarily. Either way, you have a lot of talents and gifts, and your spirit guides see that because you're so much of a perfectionist, sometimes you don't utilize all of your gifts, or you just don't have time for them, or you're not always focusing on the right ones. They want you to somehow kind of slow it down if you can and make a balance. Either way, regardless, I don't really see too many bad things, despite, you know, the scariness of this card being associated with the devil in the tarot. I think that's the devil card is a very misunderstood card anyhow. And sort of vilified, as it would naturally be, because the devil, right? The devil itself is an interesting character if you look into the history of the devil. I remember doing some research, and in the medieval times, the devil was this sort of comical character that was more like a buffoon, like a clown, that was laughable, and people laughed at the devil. So if you think of Pan in Greek mythology, right, just sort of playing tricks on people like a trickster. And then over time, the devil became something very scary and dark and demonic and terrible. So I'm not talking about religious perspectives. Of course, I respect wherever you are coming from. I'm just saying that you may get misunderstood a lot. All right, you may feel misunderstood a lot, and your spirit guides are saying that they understand you, that it's okay if others misunderstand you. They misunderstand you, right? Your spirit guides don't misunderstand you. They understand you. But sometimes you may confuse your spirit guides because they're trying to send you certain signs that you missed. So you may confuse those signs. You may also make mountains out of molehills. So in other words, you create bigger issues than there already are, or that you make something out to be a bigger deal than it actually is. So you need to perhaps do some daily breathing practices or something where you can just kind of slow down your energy and relax a bit. That being said, I know I've shared perhaps some harsher truths, and it may or may not resonate with you there, but in general, your spirit guides are saying that they admire your hard work, that this is something that generally works for you, to ease off of your high expectations of trying to make everything perfect, but at the same time, you wouldn't be where you are now if you hadn't adopted this mentality of go, 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 right? And you are a very gifted person. Like I said, they see you as being someone who is very endowed with lots of talents and abilities, intelligence and creativity, and there's just you're very demanding of yourself, but they also want you to know that that you could give yourself a pat on the back, right, every now and then, because you've been doing such a good job, and there are not a lot of people who, like you, are as focused and efficient in getting about to where you need to be. They see you as someone who is practical, down to earth, but also, as you see, her eyes are looking up, spiritual. There's this spiritual aspect of you, of course, which is why you would be drawn to the pick a card videos in the first place, right? So you have this beautiful grounded nature, but there's also this very spiritual side to you. And the spiritual side is your line of communication, of contact with the spirit world. And they speak through you, they speak to you through signs. And it could be just things that you see outside, or it could be something that's said in a movie, or something that you hear in a song, or something that you read in a book. But whatever it is, they speak to you through different mediums. And they want you to just try to pay attention to those a little bit more, because you tend to miss them. But yeah, you are someone who is going to go very, very far in life. And that's not by chance, and it's not by luck, and it's not by any accident. You are someone who's going to go very, very far in life because you work very, very, very hard. You work on yourself, you work on your goals, and this is commendable. Your spirit guides are actually, if anything, they gave you some words of advice at the beginning, but now your spirit guides are just sort of congratulating you at the same time. So it's kind of interesting. They like to keep that balance. I'm hearing that your spirit guides are sort of balanced. They don't, when you I don't know if you remember this sort of like the sandwich comment. I don't know if ever, when you were in school, if you remember your teachers talking about this, like you give a compliment, or sorry, you give a compliment, then you give something that can be improved, and then you give another compliment type of thing. So that's kind of the way your spirit guides like to handle things with you. They like to balance it out. They like to say, okay, here's our advice. But they like to get rid of that first. They like to get that out of the way. Not rid of that, but they want to get that kind of thing out of the way. So they give you a, some word of advice first. And then they say, yeah, but ultimately you're great and you're amazing and you're doing really, really, really well. So they're giving you the compliments now, and now they're saying that they're really proud of you, they're really excited for you, they're excited for your journey. They're telling you you've done so much work, you've come so very far. They can't wait to see what you're capable of, and they want to remind you that, although you tend to be more focused in the moment, especially when you're working on whatever it is that you do, whether it's working on yourself or on your your own your career goals, relationship goals, whatever it is that you do in a very, very healthy way. They're saying that don't despair because, yes, things are coming to fruition. Things are coming to fruition. Hope is not lost. You are moving. Hope is far from lost, and it's not even about hope. They're saying, don't worry about hope. What do you don't need to hope for anything right now. It's not about, just saying, oh, I hope that it happens. They're saying, forget that kind of mentality. They're saying it's happening because you worked for it. It's happening because you work for it. So your spirit guides see you as an incredibly hard worker, and they see you as someone definitely to be congratulated. They're really excited to be part of your team, and they want to remind you to pay attention to the signs around you. They are also pointing again to that spiritual side of you, that you are very wise, that you have access to this beautiful wisdom, and that you are going to be able to balance out your life really, really well through this kind of perfectionistic tendency that you have that can be worked in a healthy, positive way when we understand not to take it too far, and this spiritual go with the flow part of you that is very connected and that can guide you through inspiration. And then again, I remind you of the different signs. Your spirit guides keep saying, pay attention to the signs. Okay, they can be visual, they can be auditory, they can be, in your imagination, through dreams, a feeling, anything. So much. So I hope you enjoyed the reading there, and I look forward to reading for you in another video.